How's it going, everyone? It's Derek Lamoureux, and this is part 2 of the van build. This is the second video in the multi-part series of me building out a production van. If you haven't seen the first video, I recommend checking that out first. I'll link it somewhere up here. Today, we're gonna install Kilmat and frame the inside of the van. Right now I'm just installing the Riv Nuts in the walls. I'm using all the existing holes in the van and just finding Riv Nuts that match that same size. That way I don't have to drill any holes into the van itself. So the piece on here just broke off. There's such a thin thread that this air gun has so much pressure, just, you know, you can't go too hard with it. Anyways, they gave me like 4 spares, so it's all good. All right, so now I'm gonna install the Kilmat. This is a sound dampening material, and I chose this one because it was really easy to install. I could just peel and stick it on. The reason why I wanted it for the van was the van out of the box is really just a tin can and everything is really, really loud, so that when you're driving, you hear anything that's back there. So this just helps dampen that sound a little bit. 5 left over, that's my estimate. So I can either open up a new box, or I've got these 5 that I can do the roof and the floor, or I open up a new box and we see what we have left. I'm trying not to use too many, just enough to dampen the sound enough. I bought this little roller tool on Amazon, and it made putting on these pieces of Kilmat super easily. I figured I would do this whole partition too, because I'm here and now it'll have a little bit more sound dampening on it too. So every wall other than the roof and the floor is now covered in Kilmat. 2, 3, 4 left over, which I thought I was gonna have 5. I ended up having to cut an extra half of one. I probably could use these for the doors, and that would be 1 box for the whole thing. And then if I wanted to do the floors and ceiling, I'm probably gonna keep the second box. And when I get to the floors and ceiling, I'll use that. Now it's time to start framing the inside of our van. I used 1x4 pine. I started with my horizontal studs first and then did the vertical studs. So I measured everything and then cut all of the lengths and then just double checked it to make sure that it would fit. And then I used a piece of tape just to mark where the holes were for the Riv Nuts so that I could easily mount the screws in the right place. I went out and bought countersink drill bits, which I would recommend so that you can have the bolt and the washer there and it's a little bit easier. And then I just used a normal drill bit to drill the rest. This is a 7/8 bit. I ended up borrowing a buddy of mine's drill press, which made drilling these holes way faster. These brown screws are number 8s by 1.25 inches. These silver screws are number 10s by 1.75 inches. This one is a 5/16 drill bit, which is what I use to drill the bigger holes for the 5/16 bolts. For the 10/24 holes, I used a 15/64 bit. For the 10/24 countersink, I used a 5/8 countersink bit. I used a 1/2 inch nut driver to put in all of the larger 5/16 bolts. This little bit here that I used to pre-drill all of the holes for the screws is a 3/32 bit. Okay, so when I put this board up here, you know, if that's where I'm gonna mount the vertical beams, the problem that I'm running into is there's about a 2-finger gap right here. And I think, you know, I could notch this out, and I've seen some people do that on other videos, but you know, I'd like to keep the integrity of this board intact, and which I think what I'm going to try is I'm going to try and switch this out for a 2x6 so that this is thicker, and then this will have to be straight, and then this can sit flush with the bolt in there. So that's what I'm going to try. We'll see if that works, or if I'm going to have to go back to this style. Okay, so that 1x3 that I'm changing to a 2x4, I just clamped it on, and then I just used it as a tracer and poked holes right in it. It's pretty solid. I don't think it's going anywhere. Last step before we start working on the exterior modifications is we're gonna install some E-track. And this was so that our carts, all of our shelving, everything could be easily attached via E-track. And I even got these custom fabricated pipe holders so that I could put the pipe in the E-track as well. This is allowing us to essentially take everything on and off the van if we needed to. These shelves I got from Home Depot, and they were perfect because they're 18 inches deep, and you can kind of customize the length and the number of shelves however you want. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you follow along for more videos about the van, and just tap that subscribe button for more videos.